The man recognized at a glance that the snake before him was the king of the golden-striped white snakes. To save enough money for his grandson's house and wedding, the man mustered up his courage and fiercely lunged at the white snake king. However, not only was it incredibly fast, but also possessed stunning strength. It instantly threw the man to the ground. This was his first failure in snake hunting. Unwilling to accept defeat, the man vowed to catch and cook it in the future. As the sun had already set, the man quickly packed his belongings and headed down the mountain to return home. Unsurprisingly, the village gossips would discuss him upon seeing his return, as the snake was considered their mountain god, and the man had been hunting snakes for 40 years. His grandson's face bore a scarlet snake-shaped birthmark, which everyone knew was the consequence of his snake hunting. But the man didn't believe in superstitions, claiming that if anyone cursed his grandson again, he would throw snakes into their yard in the middle of the night. On the other hand, the village idiot had an immediate stress response upon seeing the snake, as he had witnessed his own father being strangled to death by one. Since then, he had been babbling about the mountain god's curse. The man couldn't be bothered to argue with them, as he was in a hurry to go home and cook for his beloved grandson. As a snake hunter, the man's house was naturally filled with snakes. His wife had always disapproved of his livelihood, but the man was reluctant to give it up, as it was the quickest way to save money. However, his wife pointed out that their grandson was being called a snake brat by the villagers due to the birthmark on his face, urging the man to consider not only his own reputation but also the well-being of their newly adult grandson. To the wife's surprise, the man quite liked this nickname and even wanted his grandson to become his successor. Furious, the wife declared that she would never allow their grandson to have anything to do with snakes. Just then, a scream suddenly rang out from outside the house. The couple hurried out to investigate, only to find that their grandson had accidentally been bitten by a snake. It turned out that he couldn't bear to kill living creatures and had intended to secretly release them, but unfortunately fell victim to a snake's bite. Luckily, the snake that day was not venomous, and only required some herbal medicine to reduce inflammation. To make it up to his grandson, the man went straight to the kitchen to stew some nourishing snake meat and collect the snake gall to sell for money. However, no one in the family except for the man dared to eat it, fearing that they would suffer the consequences. Seeing his grandson so frightened by a plate of snake meat that he wet his pants, the man took advantage of his inattention and quickly stuffed a mouthful into his grandson's mouth. At first, he was very resistant, but upon tasting it, he discovered that the meat was exceptionally delicious. The wife was very angry when she saw this, scolding them for being too daring and asking if they weren't afraid of the consequences catching up to them. As soon as she finished speaking, someone actually did come knocking at the door. The man, scared out of his wits, went to answer it, only to find that it was his money god who had arrived. Every month, the snake merchant would come to collect snake galls, but this time, he complained about the poor quality of the man's goods and threatened to end their partnership on the spot. Hearing this, the man panicked immediately. This business was his livelihood, so he promised to procure some rare items for the merchant next month. The snake merchant's interest was piqued upon hearing about rare items. If it was to be rare, then he wanted the rarest of them all. He declared that if the man could catch the white snake king, he would buy it at 100 times the price.